My name is Sean Patton. I'm a Scorpio. The first time I ever made money performing as a comedian, it was in a city known as Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was performing there at a club that I won't say the name of, but it's called the Funny Bone. I was paid $100 for 2 shows. The first show was silence, crickets heckling me, The second show was just drunk, loud, boo, shut up. That's kind of like the ultimate heckle. Shut up! After the show, they give me my $50. I said, I thought it was 100. He's like, well, I thought you were gonna be better. I did that poorly, downgraded my pay. I can remember it as being sort of a shell-shocked feeling of just like, well, you know what I wanna do? I wanna get drunk. So I'm just drinking at the bar by myself, and this woman comes and sits next to me, and she's older, in her 40s, and she says, hey, I thought you were really funny, like really funny. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she was a very attractive woman, and she got me like right up on her and was like, come here. Do you think I'm beautiful? And I was like, of course, yeah. And she's like, why didn't you say that? And then she lays one on me. Come home with me, let's get up, let's get high. Cut to her and I in my car now, going back to her place. Baton Rouge is a very rich city. There's a lot of gated subdivisions in Baton Rouge. So we get to her gated subdivision, and you gotta type a code in to open the gate, and she's like, it's 4196. And I type that in, and it gives me like a and she's like, no, I'm sorry, 4916. No, it's 49116. No. And then the security guard shines a light and like, can I help you? She opens the door, give it, guy, and gets back in, and he's like, oh, okay. Like he could understand her language and also spoke shit-faced, apparently. We drive in, and her house was this, like, mansion. There's no other way to describe it. And we get into this house, and it looks like someone broke in and just threw a party. Completely trashed. The first thing I saw, an empty pizza box with a bunch of the bricks of ramen noodles. Just a bunch of those in a pizza box. The fridge, a refrigerator, had been drug out. It was no longer in the kitchen. It was now in the foyer, laying on its side, open, and it was on. And it was full of trash. That one I remember thinking, like, someone's with me. That's not how you recycle. And then we go into like the bar, and she said, I'm gonna make you a drink. And I said, jokingly, I will have a Grey Goose and Jameson. And she fucking made it. Just was like, okay. Boom, no ice. I was like, well, this is the most expensive thing I've ever held. And we go into the living room. We sit down for a second. She's like, I wanna show you me performing. And at first I was like, yeah. Okay, cool. And she disappears for a second. And I'm thinking, oh, she's gonna come out scantily clad. Nope, she comes back with a VCR. Can you hook it up? Because I want you to see what's on the tape. Okay, on the VCR. Sure, I could, yes. Then she says, oh, and let's get high. And she disappears again for a second. VCR, very easy. Bam, it's in there. Sort of press play. It comes up right away. It is her, very young, acting in a play. And then she comes and sits back down. She's got a pipe now. She's ready to get high. She's like, yeah, watch. I want you to see I'm a fucking actress. And I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna watch a play you were in, and this, oh, all right. And then she lights up the bowl, starts puffing, and that's when I noticed, like, oh, that's not weed. Smoked a lot of weed. It's definitely not opium. I've even smoked opium. That is crack. It fits the description of crack. It is a rock, and it has that sweet tinny smell that you hear about. Passes me this crack pipe, and I just sort of take it and just let it drift over, hold on to it for a second. I make a sound, and then I just kind of hold my breath, and then I slowly pass it back to her, and she just kind of grabs it. I was now afraid, as she's clearly up after that first hit. Then what we're watching on TV sort of goes, and then it pops back up, and it's her close up on her face. She's laid out on like a deck or something. Camera pulls back a little more, and she's topless, smiling, and I'm looking at her like, your breasts are on the screen, but you don't care because you're high on crack. And then it backs away more to reveal her laying fully nude with a Roman candle. Now, I wish I could tell you it was in her hand, but it wasn't. That Roman candle was in her vagina. Not the wrong way. The business end was facing outward, This wasn't a crazy suicide attempt on video. And whoever was holding the camera, the DP of that shoot, he reached down and lit lit the Roman candle. So this thing starts firing, and this guy's just filming it, laughing his ass off. And then he pans over real quick, and you see about 4 people all wearing Casper the Friendly Ghost costumes, dodging the blasts. Woo! Woo! All right, I think I can leave now. And I did. Set the drink down. She was completely head bobbing, high out of her mind. I was like, yeah, bye. I'm getting out of there. Headlights. I see headlights as I'm getting to the foyer, and I hear, the opening and slamming of a door. I'm frozen. I'm like, should I hide? Who enters it was almost like a casting agency sent a husband. Jacket slung over the sling, wedding ring, bang, right there. Briefcase, tie undone. Like, that guy opens the door, and I'm just sort of standing there, and he gives me this look like he's been through this before. And as that happens, I get punched in the back of the head real goddamn hard. Bam! And I turn around, and I catch a second punch right in the face. Like, oh shit! And it's her. And she's unloading on me now, like, you mother. Suddenly this guy's got her and he's restraining her. He's like, Deirdre, which was like, oh, Deirdre, I never got your name. But Deirdre, come here. And to me, he starts doing this sound. And I'm like, okay. And he says, tell me your name. No. He's like, stay put. Comes back with a checkbook and he's writing. He's like, just tell me your goddamn name. And I was like, okay. Tell him my name, writes a check. He says, you get the out of here, and you never talk about this, and I don't ever want to see you again. And I was like, all right. And I got in my car, drove the hour and a half back to New Orleans. The next morning, I woke up and cashed that check. I made $50 bombing in front of dumb, idiot Baton Rouge people, but I made $500 to basically never tell this story.